Joke bars. Welcome back to the Football Terrace, gentlemen. I am going to assume all your genders and say you're all men. I'm sorry, Gooners, and I'm sorry, Steve, and I'm sorry, Mo. But first, I'm going to Patty. Another embarrassing night for Man City tonight. 2-0 up, and you fucked it up. What went wrong tonight, mate?
It's frozen again. It's frozen. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro. We can hear you.
Yeah, man. Sorry, man. I just got new internet and it looks like it's not holding up. Yeah, I think I was here last week. I think you were not here. Not last week. The last match. And I remember I was telling my fellow City fans that don't get hyped up because you've smacked up Ipswich. We are still struggling. Funny thing is, a lot of City fans are getting gassed up because obviously we signed centre backs. I told them that this club clearly knows that if you don't sign a CDM, we're screwed. If you don't sign a CDM that's even average, that's at this point in time, I'm looking even for average CDM, we're not going to do well. But it is what it is. When we were are we still here? Okay, when we were when we were 2-0 up, I still knew that somehow PSG are going to beat us. And obviously, even going to PSG, I knew we'll be lucky. Looks like PSG at first were still scared, thinking this is the old Man City. But that's what's been happening this season. Teams, first of all, they get scared, thinking, "Oh, this is the old Man City." But as soon as they smell blood, they're like, "Nah, these guys are dusted." Pep Guardiola again decided to remove Kovacic while he was having a great game, and decided to throw in Gundogan, who is a shell of himself. The team is not bad. They just finished on the middle, Terry. The middle is just non-existent. So as soon as the other team, the midfielders step up, like today, Neves, who City fans were saying last season, I said, let's get this guy. They're like, oh no, he's too young for Nigeria, although we cannot pay 60 mil. He bossed the midfield. As soon as the midfield decided to show up for PSG, our midfield crumbled, and it's going to be like that this season. And to be honest with you, a lot of City fans think we're going to beat Club Brugge. I think we're not. I think we're going to get slapped, and we just better take the L and go home and accept that this season has been bad. But am I worried? No, I'm not worried, because at least there's a rebuild. So viva la rebuild.
Yes, yeah, look, mate, I hear you. I wouldn't be panicking in the long term if I was Man City. I do agree with you on that. I'm not going to sit here and be shameless, but listen, you should still be beating Club Brugge at home. V, do you think you'll beat Club Brugge at home after tonight's further embarrassment?
I'm not even thinking about Bruges, man. I got Chelsea next. All right. I'm thinking about this game right now, Terry. And if I'm going to go based off of this game, I can't have high expectations of winning the next one. Patrick's absolutely right. Now, we know what the problem is. We haven't been able to fix it. I don't know if we're going to go out and get a replacing body to really secure that defensive midfield. But it's the same old story, man. I mean, Ipswich was a great hiccup, a great bump in the road for us to be like, okay, you know what, it's not as bad. But this is Champions League, and there's a reason why it took us many years to win it. You got to respect the competition, and this is PSG, who we know with regards to their lack of winning the Champions League, that they were going to be highly motivated to go against us, who were able to win it before them. So it was it's the same writing on the wall, man. We are weak. We are not the defending champs of the 3-peat, of the 4-peat. We're not that club right now. So we're going to take this humbling, and we're going to have to learn from it. There's so many mistakes. I don't even want to list all of it right now. I just want to point out that we weren't good enough to win this game. As great as it was to be 2 up, we weren't good enough to win this game.
Can I just say one thing, Terry? One thing, yep. I've just remembered one thing, though. Do you know what's more embarrassing also, Terry, this point in time is the PSG and the Juventus teams that are beating us are not even the best PSG and Juventus teams out there. Because
which speaks to how bad we are. Yeah.
No, I agree. And I was going to, why do you think you couldn't cope with the press of Paris Saint-Germain tonight? Because most of the first half, especially when you went 2-0 up, every time they pressed you, they won the ball back. Your players were making mistakes. Why do you think you were so poor in that regard tonight?
Well, I gotta give PSG credit, man, because they knew where to press us. Like honestly, if you're going to make us feel any type of weakness, any type of issue, it's going to be at Nunez, who's playing out of position. He's been good for us, but he's playing out of position. So press him. You're going to definitely press When Gundogan's on that pitch, when Rico's on that pitch, you're definitely going to press and try to find opportunities amongst them. And again, we don't have the legs. The reason why there's a portion of the City fan base that are very calm, right? We're not losing our heads like some other fan bases when it comes down to losses or when it comes down to what's going to happen next for our club. It's because we've seen how the club is investing. Defensively, the mistakes that we are making, right? You could clearly see that the club's investing for the future in the defense-wise. We're still asking questions like, who are we getting for the defensive midfielder? Who are we going to get moving forward? Mamouche is great, but that's more so attacking. Who are we going to get that's really going to solidify our midfield? We're still waiting to see. If we happen to not advance out of this Champions League, we deserve it. We honestly deserve it.
I understand that. I want to ask you a question about some of the subs tonight, and maybe it goes back into a super chat earlier about Rico Lewis, because you bring on Jack Grealish and you bring on Rico Lewis. Savinho and Ruben Diaz, I didn't necessarily think they did anything wrong in the first half. Maybe it's come out that Diaz has picked up an injury. But I thought Grealish, barring his goal, was anonymous in the game, and Rico Lewis got cooked. Are you looking at that as a mistake from Pep Guardiola taking off Savio, who I thought was cooking quite well down that left-hand side, was dribbling well, and obviously taking off your best centre-back that you were all begging to come back for Rico Lewis? Was that big mistakes from Pep Guardiola tonight?
To properly answer that, I got to hear the press conference. Like, I need to know what the reason was to take. I mean, Ruben did have a yellow. I'd be surprised if that's why Pep took him off, because Ruben can still play contain. He's our general. He dictates that back line. So I'd be surprised if that was the reason to sub him off. And again, for Savinho, I don't know why he would have taken him off. Whether it's a mistake, again, who else would Pep had brought on for those two players as well? It speaks to what we have available in terms of quality of players. Jack gave us a goal. That's what we want. Honestly, two goals in Champions League to have to then lean on your defense should be enough. We should be giving up 4 goals in the second half. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know if I'm gonna say that Pep made a mistake taking those players off. I'd like to know what the reasons were. But we're not good, Terry.
Bro, Pep doesn't know how to defend, bro. He's never studied that. That's the reality. He just doesn't know, bro. Why do people can't see this? He just doesn't know how to have his team defend.
Mo is the best. Mo just waited for you to say all of that. And he said, Pep just doesn't know how to defend, man. Like
I'm telling you guys, you know what? Pep Guardiola, all his career relied on one thing. Don't do faces. Relied on one thing, right? Which worked the best. That's why he's the best. That's why he's the best league manager, because he relied so much on having the ball and smother the opposition, dispossess the opposition once he loses the ball, and he doesn't concede a lot of chances. In Barcelona as well, when he coached Barcelona, every time a team bypasses his press, the problem is he concedes goals. The problem today is that Luis Enrique set up his team better than Pep. Is it because of quality confidence? You cannot convince me that Pep wanted to give Paris Saint-Germain the ball when he was 3-2 down. The ball position after Man City conceded even the third goal is Paris Saint-Germain 60, Man City 40. Don't tell me that is by design. Because if that is by design, he is stupid to take Savinho off, because Savinho and Haaland are the best two on the counter-attack. Let me finish the point, and then you can respond, right? The problem with Man City as a team is that when you were put under pressure today, when PSG kept pressing, the chances kept coming in the first half, and there was a time that would come in and you would collapse it defensively. That's how it is, because these players are not trained to receive pressure that amount of time. For the whole game, PSG had the ball and Man City were defending. You were playing transition-based football, counter-attacking. Stats show that when I was watching the game, every time I looked, literally, Man City were trying to get the ball off the PSG players and they couldn't. This Pep Guardiola doesn't know how to defend. He's never, it's not embedded in his brain. He needs to attack. That is why you lost the game. So, you need to attack as well.
So sorry, Mo, were you saying that Pep gave up possession, or he wasn't able to get possession? I'm trying to understand the point you're trying to make.
I don't know what he said I don't know what he said in the dressing room, but it doesn't make any sense.
No. The stats what you're looking at. You're trying to say that it looked like City gave up possession.
City couldn't get the position out of PSG even after being 3-2 down, which is something I believe that if you go back to every single game that City played in the history of Pep Guardiola, City were never down conceding possession. I dare anyone in the chat to give me one game in the history of the 8 years of Pep where he had less possession than the opposition when he was down.
And I think some of, do you know what? I think it's a great point. I think some of it that has got to do with personnel. Some players have got old, I understand. I'm just looking at Jack Grealish. He scored a great strike when he came on. I did think the UK commentators were overdoing it. They were like, it's a great strike. They went, so easy to kick it over from there. I'm thinking anyone kicks it over from there, they should be ridiculed, right? I don't know where you guys were listening to it. It might have been different. But he only had 15 touches of the ball in the entire game. He only attempted 8 passes in the entire game. No dribbles, no crosses, no through balls. So for me, if that was a less technical player, a team with less recent success, the word would be, why was player X hiding? Why wasn't he getting involved? Why wasn't he getting stuck in? For me, I looked at Jack Grealish as an example. I wouldn't put it all on him because, I think Rico Lewis was being cooked. I thought Edison in goal was... These are all little reasons. I thought Rico Lewis was poor on the ball. Edison, really bad in his distribution as an example.
Yeah, Bernardo didn't have a good game either.
Yeah, Bernardo, not just the nutmeg, but everything. So it's a lot of these players, and these guys are normally good at it. And for me, tonight was, and I agree with what Patrick said, tonight was a real acid test because you've been on a winless... So on a winning streak with no defeats, 4 or 5 games. You scored goals against obviously Salford, and you scored goals against Ipswich. But tonight, I felt like
the teams.
No, exactly. No, but I agree. But this is why I was saying on a few of the match reactions, and I got called salty. But it was a case of a lot of those teams still, other than Ipswich, I thought were really, really poor. All of those teams had really good chances to score against you, and I was intrigued to see what was going to happen when you were up against a decent team. And I will say this about Paris Saint-Germain. They were raving about them on television here. And I thought they were really good tonight in their shape. I thought João Neves was good. But what I would say is they've been worse than you in the Champions League this year. So it's not even a good PSG team. I'd be worried. I'd be worried about the rest of the season. I really, really would.
Can I say one thing though? The machine is broken right now, and people have to just admit that. Like, the team is not great, and the funny thing is, there's nothing even to say at this point. Like, what I have to say, I have said multiple times when I've come here. I already said at the beginning of the season when I got called a plastic fraud. When I told people that we have to be careful, we're conceding within 50 seconds. We are conceding within 1 minute. I was like, this is going to hurt us. At the end of the day, the team needs to be changed. City got too cocky, and the funny thing is, we're still being cocky in the market. We're buying centre backs, and Douglas Luiz is there, and some City fans are telling me he's not good enough. Yet this is the same Douglas Luiz we were all crying for last season, saying, why is he going to Juventus? Just because he's not working at Juve doesn't mean it's going to work for what we have right now. Douglas is way better. And the funny thing about City, Terry, the only time they're paying is for centre backs. We have so many centre backs. We can operate with the centre backs we have. But guess what? For a centre midfielder, they're asking Juventus for a loan and they don't want to pay 30 million, which is funny. But they're paying 60 for a kid from Brazil who people told me that this kid is the next best thing, but I don't even know who this kid is. They're
also just about to sign the Chelsea midfielder, Juve. Is it Casadei? I think it's him.
Casadei is linked to Torino and Lazio.
Who is it that I'm looking at here? No, sorry, Vega. Renato Vega. So here we go. He's that Patakin is a real one. He started so many games for them in the Conference League this year, but yeah, he's just gone to Juve. So I wonder what that means. I want to